Your turn, Yugi boy.
What is up, guys? This is AlintheaYoh coming at you today with a video. Hooray! I'm not going to talk about where I've been. I'm not really going to touch on what I've been doing, because the last video that I did over a year ago, I discussed a lot of those issues, and a lot of them are still the same, but then I didn't really follow it up with anything because, again, life just got really busy. And I think, you know, I am actually having a lot more of a crack at this than you might think. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on in the background, a lot of things that I have been doing. I've been enjoying the idea of Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot more, but that's not what this video is about. I'll talk about that on streams when I do them over on Twitch, so feel free to go check them out. What I want to do today is talk about the state of the game. So the state of the game has been quite a hot topic in recent weeks and months because of what's been going on in the format. It's quite apparent that the game is in an awkward position. I think, you know, we can refer to lots of different points in this game where you could say the game's been in trouble, and I've lived through pretty much all of them. You know, you can go through the Chaos era, the Dad era, the Pendulums with Pepe, you can go through the introduction of Synchros, you can go through the introduction of Links. At every point there's been something that has caused people to say that they don't want to play the game. I myself have gone through one of those eras in the Link format. It was just a mechanic that I didn't really like, couldn't really get on board with. I'm over that now. It's obviously been a very long time, so it doesn't really bother me in any way, shape or form. Something feels different with the outcryings of a lot of pro players. Our European Championship Jess has actively come out and said that she doesn't enjoy the format currently, and she'll be looking at other things. I think that tells you all you need to know, but there is a plethora of long-standing professional players that I know quite well from our locals, I know quite well from just being online. They all really dislike where the format is, but it's not just the format, it's the state of the game. So let me break it down into where I think the areas of issues are, and then the areas where we can improve, or Konami can improve, because it's one of those that I love this game, I always have. I've found my best friends from this game, I've found really good relationships from this game with people over in America, people over everywhere. They're the key, like, to this day, even when I haven't been playing, I still talk to all of these people. And they're some of the nicest, most amazing people that I can ever meet, and I wouldn't meet them without Konami and without Yu-Gi-Oh! So I do owe a certain amount of my life to this game. The elephant in the room is Japan. If you don't know how Konami runs and how a lot of Japanese companies run, in all fairness, it's not just a Konami issue. A lot of Japanese run companies have this issue where what Japan says goes. You do have an amount of wiggle room, and obviously you have a say in it because you are still an entity in your continent. You still say what happens in your area. It's not completely dictated. Now, I know that there's obviously a bad example of that, which is Pokemon, but I think you need to understand that Pokemon run everything so well that I think there is a big element of trust in the fact that, well, Pokemon is its own entity in Europe just as much as it is in Japan. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not. Yu-Gi-Oh! Very much feels, and it always has been, OCG first, TCG second. And there are reasons for that, though. You can't really deny the revenue shares and the retail spaces are much bigger in Japan than they are in America or in Europe. I was looking at the revenue reportings from the previous financial year. It's pretty bad. Like, Japan destroy everyone. The Americas are second and Europe's third, with Oceania being fourth. But Oceania don't get any love anyway, so I feel bad for those guys. But what that isn't, in my opinion, is an excuse. I am not going to talk of my personal experiences too much with Konami, but let me just say this. I have been working on events years and years ago, and very cool things where certain people haven't talked to the certain correct people or their certain counterparts in Japan and things have been quashed at the last minute. So it's not that Japan rule with an iron fist 24/7. I think there are some issues, and that's okay. Like, I'm not saying that the company's perfect. No company's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. And I think it's more how you learn from them and how you move on from them. You foster those relationships with your counterparts over in Japan. But again, I understand that it's not I'm a junior person in Konami Europe, I'm going to go talk to a junior or senior person in Japan. That's just not how it works. There is a line of communication where one of the top dogs in Europe and in America will be the only ones that will have communication with Japan. But there is still a communication stream that needs to be improved. All that being said, I personally still think that is not an excuse for how things are handled. Let's talk about one of the first problems that I see in the game currently, and it's something that has been a problem for a while, and that is products. Yu-Gi-Oh! Products are some of the most hit and miss things I have ever seen in my entire life. You, on the one hand, can have Rarity Collection 1 that I think it's safe to say hit it out of the park. They did really well. I thoroughly enjoyed opening that. It was something that's close to euphoric when I was opening a case and well, it wasn't a case. Did I open a case? I did open a case. And it was just a lot of fun. And then you had Rarity Collection 2, which just felt so lackluster. And now we're getting a Rarity Collection 3, which is just a bit insane. I think one of the biggest problems is set or product exhaustion. Now, I was looking at some of the kind of release schedules for products, and I think it was saying that in the most recent times, there was, at the end of 2023, Age of Overlord, Rarity Collection 1 and Valiant Smashers were all released within a month of each other. They're some pretty big sets. So Valiant Smashers introduced, things like Centaurion. Rarity Collection 1 was massive, and Age of Overlord was an incredible booster set. But the problem is money, and your retail space, and your vendors, and your shops. That's a lot of investment that's required. And I'm not even saying that's the only example. There's been quite a lot of examples of clumping and product clumping throughout the years. It's not actually a new thing, which I was quite surprised at. But for some reason this year, and last year, it just feels more exhausting to me. When we talk about the cost of a product, you want to get retail value from it. If you don't get retail value from something, what's the point in buying it? Sets prior to Age of Overlord have been poor. And I mean the core sets, they've been poor. They haven't held value. It's been essentially a losing battle to buy cards or to make any value from it. You buy the singles. Age of Overlord's changed that. And now, quite significantly, the Infinite Forbidden has changed that as well. But it's gone the other way. Currently, pricing is all over the place, as it always is. I'm talking to this, and it's the first week that it's been released. This weekend is the official release, but the previous weekend that's just gone was the sneak peeks. This set introduced the Fiendsmith archetype, which, as we know in the OCG, has been running rampant, is the best engine that you could ever dream of in recent times. And I think it's something that is a problem in the way that it's done. Obviously, Konami were going to print these quite high. The TCG just seemed to do that. That's the way they like to make money. There are historically and to this day so many bumps in rarities to cards that people want. It's almost sadistic at times. But how do they do it in the OCG? If we look at the OCG, it's actually quite funny. And when I say funny, it's not really funny. It's just the way they do it, and it's actually a little bit depressing when you think about it, because in the OCG, they have multiple printings, like the rarity collections in core sets of rarities. For example, Fiendsmith Engraver is printed in an Ultra, an Ulti, a Secret, and then a quarter century Secret Rare, or their Starlight thing, whatever you want to call it. There's 4 chances to get Engraver in a different rarity. If you go onto eBay and have a look at Engraver on there, the lowest one, which is the Ultra, is about 20 quid. And we're out here with about 70-80 pound Engravers, and then about 200-250 pounds quarter century Secret Rare versions. excellent. Is this something that I think they could introduce into TCG sets? Absolutely, and I know people would absolutely love it because it hits every problem and every person in the game. It hits people who want to get a high rarity card. I'm one of those people. I quite like shiny cardboard that inevitably loses money, but oh well. And then it hits the player base that actually want to play it. It also helps out the vendors. It also helps out the stores because you have a box that has multiple rarities and then hits different clientele that want it. Currently, a Fiendsmith Engraver has one type of person, a competitive person. You don't see a casual picking up that secret rare. However, if you introduce a box that has multiple rarities in the core set, like they do in the OCG already, you might find that that casual player goes, oh well, it's 20 quids. Like, that's a lot of money for a card, but if you're telling me I can get like a playset and the engine for not ridiculous money, and obviously that's just eBay, it'll be lower in real life when you're doing trading, they might actually want to pick that up, and then that might actually introduce more people into your competitive scene. Honestly, I never understood why we don't do something like that. Maybe that's one thing that's dictated from Japan, but I honestly think that would be incredible for us. And it would fix a lot of problems, in my personal opinion. I think if you had that type of rarity formatting in core sets, it would be incredible. Now, obviously, there are difference in ratios. Let's not forget, there's difference in ratios. There's difference in the amount of cards in a pack, in a box as well. So that might have to, have something to do with it. But again, I think that they could try to change it up. Another thing we have to look at is price support. Now, I've just spoken about how much a deck, I've spoken about how much Fiendsmith costs, but decks are £500 up to play in these competitive events. Because, if you build that deck, you want to be rewarded competitively, right? So let's look at the European Championship qualifiers, the second tier tournament of the season. The only one above that is the World Championships. First place gets you a trophy. Invite to the TCG World Championships 2024 with travel and accommodation. A super rare version of the World Championship Series prize card. And then you get another one. So you get two. Super rares. Not ultra rares, that's only for OICS. A Nintendo Switch, a console that is about to be phased out. The complete set of Infinite, Forbidden, and Legacy Destruction, including Starlight rares. Didn't think they had Starlight rares in. Thought they were quarter century secret rares. You might have to change that, Konami. 72 booster packs of Infinite Forbidden, so 3 boxes. Then you get your World Championship Cup map. When I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, oh, I want to see how much value I get back. The complete set is nice, and if it includes all of the quarter century secret rares as well, that is a pretty good first place prize. The Nintendo Switch absolutely needs to be changed to something that doesn't have dust on from their warehouse where they've clearly overbought their stock, because it's absolutely insane to me that they're giving out Nintendo Switches. I actually don't know if they're OLEDs or not. Are they OLEDs? They better be OLEDs. If I win euros, I'm given an LED Switch, I'm fuming. The super rare prize card thing is funny to me, right? Because you get 2 super rare prize cards. That honestly just feels to me like they need to get rid of them. Why would I want 2 of this vanilla monster that no one wants, and the value of it is just tanked? And things like the accommodation is good. Like, that's what you absolutely should do. And I think that goes down to second and fourth place. Second to fourth place, I think, travel and accommodation, yeah. The problem is, once you start going off first, you get similar cards or similar pricing for second place, but you don't get Starlights in your completed set. You mean quarter century secret rares, and you only get 2 boxes of Infinite Forbidden. At that point, I'm pretty sure my deck is costing more. If we just take out the travel and accommodation thing, because obviously they're going to offer that, but there is no monetary value to that. You save money, but you don't get money. My deck is still costing more than what you're giving me in pricing. Right? A complete set of Infinite Forbidden, you get 1 engraver. That's it. You don't get anything else. And Legacy of Destruction, a terrible set. Like, give me Age of Overlord, please. This is the problem. The pricing isn't good enough. Now, I'm going to say I'm not asking for cash pricing. I very much am of the opinion that we should honour the legacy and the intentions of the creator, where he said he doesn't want it to be cash prizes. It's totally fine. I don't think you need cash prizes. I just think you need to make a better effort in your prize pool. The reason why, as I said earlier, that this feels different to different, the times when they said Yu-Gi-Oh's dying. Why it feels different now is because they have actual competition in the trading card space. Lorcana, One Piece, massive prizing. Now I know there's always been lots of games that crop up with some crazy prizing and then they just pitter out and Yu-Gi-Oh's still there. The difference is with One Piece and Lorcana is backed by the mouse, by Disney. Ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And they can keep throwing money at it like Pokemon to their heart's content. And One Piece is built, the game's built on the most successful anime and manga around, let's face it, that's still going, the longest running series. So again, it's not going anywhere. Remain to be seen how they handle those events and going forward, it's still a new space for them, but I think Konami are already losing a lot of players to Lorcana and to One Piece. I was there at the Bandai store when they restocked OPO 1, 2, 5 and 6, I think it was. The queue was there for hours. People were so excited. There were lines round the block, everything. It was insane. And I just haven't seen that amount of hype for Yu-Gi-Oh! In the longest time. So I think that they really need to look at their prize support and make it run all the way down, because if you look, it's so hard to top these events, right? And if you top your top 32, you get a game mat and the super rare card that no one wants. It's just not good enough. I've spoken critically of a lot of the prizes, so what can you do? Stop being a negative Nancy. What can you offer? You need to start getting some nostalgia stuff in there. I think if you print different artworks, different exclusive versions of non-meta cards, because there is an argument you can go, well, you could build meta cards like they did with the Shonen Jump Crush card, but that creates such a toxic playing environment that I don't think is actually healthy. You go down the collection route, if someone wins Worlds, for example, you print them their winning decks, boss monster, or a couple of boss monsters in a special rarity, or a different artwork, something like that, something unique, something that player will really want. And then this is the other thing, right? And this is the one thing that I actually really dislike what Konami do. And this is down to Japan. So this is Japan's fault. World Championships, your peak tournament, your peak premier event for the year should be a celebration for everyone. I've been to World Championships for Pokemon, and I've been to their European Championships as well. Now, take out the money aspect and then it's Pokemon. They throw a party. They invite anyone and everyone. They make it a celebration. And from that, they will absolutely have new players coming in from that event thinking, this is amazing. I want to get involved here. The World Championship qualifiers for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a closed off event that looks like it was run out of a school classroom, and it was poor. Poor, poor, poor. The way that you help foster organic relationships in your game is you celebrate it. You open it up to the community. You don't corner it off and hold it over there only doing a live stream, making it look like some elitist thing, an elitist event. You celebrate it with everyone. You run special worlds side events. You run alternate formats. You run everything like that. You have the money. I don't care. I don't want to hear, oh, well, Pokemon have money, coming out of their arse. I get that. That's fine. Konami aren't exactly poor. They're a multi-billion-pound company, and once a year they can run a special event. Honestly, if they ran something like anywhere near to what Pokemon did, just for Yu-Gi-Oh! It can be in Japan, who knows, it can be anywhere, but if they toured around, it would be very nice. Doing that would generate such fun and such excitement in the community, in my opinion. It would be insane. And I think that is one of the other problems that we have, is that they just don't seem to push it for what it is. It's a celebration of your game, celebrating the peak of competitiveness, and you want to bring everyone into that journey with you, but they just don't. There are loads of other issues with the game, in my opinion. Like, you know, it's not just the rarities, the availability, and premier events and prize support, but they are the biggest. And I think they have the biggest impact to how healthy your game is. If you at least address and fix those, I think it's going to be a very, very different outcome to what people think is going to happen. The one thing I will say is that communication is key. I really, really think communication is one of the biggest things that Konami need to get better at. I really do applaud them for what they said about their Forbidden Unlimited list. They said, yep, okay, we acknowledge you guys are kind of losing your heads a little bit. There's no list until at the end of next month. Please carry on with your World Championship qualifiers, with your European testing, and we'll get back to you. The little dig at doing creative decks is like, oh yeah, we can do some creative decks. I'm going to do insert deck Fiendsmith. Insert deck Fiendsmith, insert deck Fiendsmith. I'm being creative, Konami. Thank you for that little passive-aggressive comment. That is something they should be applauded for. The Konami I know from back in the day when I used to work with them is very different from how it is now. I love the way that they've got more content creators on the go. I love the way that they're doing a lot more exclusive stuff. I will be making another video though, however, on how they handled the absolute dumpster fire that was the Infinite Forbidden content releases, because it was just wrong. It was done horribly, and there are some very simple things they can do to fix that. I want to know what you guys think of the state of the game right now. It is a weird one. I am really missing playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Honestly, I've got lots of decks. I have actual deck profiles recorded. Would you believe it? They're scheduled. They're going to be released on my channel. An actual deck profile. And I want to do more as well, because there are, in the Infinite Forbidden, there are actually some really interesting archetypes that have come out. So that is exciting. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think. Where are you feeling? Have you left the game? Are you taking a break, or are you actually really enjoying this apart from what everyone else is saying? Are you enjoying the Fiendsmith format? So let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure to give me a like, comment, subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.